Welcome back to the Forge, where two enter. One leaves champion, and one leaves beaten, battered, and bruised. Today we have two pillars in the Soul Forge tournament community. We have the reigning, defending champion, V3ng3vin3. Not only is he the champion of the Forge, he is the champion of the last major tournament. Will he win the next one this Saturday? I don't know. Only time will tell. And the challenger this week, the people's champion, Stautmeister. The guy who brings decks that are a little bit unusual, but he still wins with them. They're not crazy. They're just not generally your typical Tier 1 deck. He is a fine tournament player in his own right. And he, too, will be eyeing the chance to qualify for the Soul Forge World Championship this coming Saturday. And this week, no Jake to be seen, as you can see. His camera's going, but it's just all black. I think that means he's in the depths of Hades. And in his place, we have his replacement. I don't know, Jake's call out. It's call out, man. His potential replacement, Hectares.
Hey, guys.
Go ahead, take a look at the decks. All right. So this week, V3ng3vin3, we have a picture for him. And Hectares, what do you think of this man's list this week?
V3ng's list?
Yes, V3ng's list. It looks a little crazy to me, to be honest. Like, it looks good. It looks like you took a good list and went and put a little crazy in it.
You know, these are very interesting cards to have working together. Nuada is, as a one of, very exciting because it's a card you can pull out and change exactly how the rest of your game will go. Scatterspore works nicely with it, but also works as an underdrop in coming back from a bad state. So there's a lot of fun cards in the deck.
Yeah, the questions I have are more like, I don't get one Nuada. So to me, when I see one Nuada, I think, why? Like, if you're only running one Nuada, you're probably not able to hit your plants and turn them into stuff. I just don't really understand the one Nuada. It feels like you either play Nuada or you don't. I could see two. One to me seems really weird. One Devour also is a little weird. To me, I feel like two Devours is a great place to be in the meta. One is fine if you're thinking like that's your out against plants or something, and so you want one. What do you think about 1 versus 2 versus 3 Devours right now?
I'm a huge fan of one-ofs, so I'm a little biased in answering this question. But Devour and Nuada both work as one-ofs for me because the fact that if you play them and they're good in the matchup, they can dominate the matchup by themselves as one-ofs is just it just makes it worth it to have them in the deck.
That is assuming that as a one-of you actually draw it, Hectares. Did you forget how this game works? You have to actually draw the card?
If you don't draw it in the first 4 turns, you don't worry about it too much, right? You think about the list as the same list without those 2 one-ofs. You don't have dead cards in your deck that you're dreading to draw later.
Gotcha. It feels like a combination of like a UN good stuffs and a UN plant deck to me. And that's what's kind of throwing me for a loop. And then you throw in Shimmerfang Serpent and you go, here's Shimmerfang Serpent too. I don't know what to do about Shimmerfang Serpent, Hectares. Have you had any positive results with that card? I know Stautmeister was playing it in his deck, and so I tried his deck. And that was a card that every time I drew it, I was like, what? What? Why is this card in this deck?
I think he's hoping to get Patriarch to grow that card. I'm not a huge fan of it myself. Poison is always too slow to work well in a game where other removal is instantaneous.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of look at him in this particular meta, and I kind of get it a little at least. Like, his attack of, what is he, like a 3-6 or a 3-5, something like that. He's actually perfect for Deathweaver because you hit him once, at the start of his turn, Deathweaver dies. So he's almost like a 6 attack underdrop. So I get it. I just feel like if you're not blocking with him, you're doing 3 to the face. It's just, I don't know. I'm not totally sold on him. I'm interested. I'm really interested in this game since they are both playing him. I'm just praying that they both play only Shimmerfang Serpent and then we can really see the true power of the Shimmerfang Serpent.
Snake fight, absolutely.
That would be great. And then otherwise, we have just some good stuff, right? We have like Oros, Thundersaur, Patriarch. Those are good cards. It looks like he's got quite a bit of removal in Cersei and Cull. What do you think about that package?
Cull is very important right now in the current metagame. If you're not running Cull or at least Draft's Will, you don't have a way to deal with the biggest threats that have been taking over.
Yeah, it is nice to have Cull for. You have Nuwada and you have Leafkin, which is a lot of the plant deck.
Drix as well.
Yes, Drix as well. So Cull does hit a lot of stuff. The problem with Drix and Leafkin is you have to draw at the right moment. And so while I agree with you that Cull is really good, Cull, I start to think more and more Cull might be a little too reactive in a lot of decks at least. So we'll have to see. His deck is very confusing to me. It feels like it's trying to do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And so I look forward to asking him about it. So let's move on to Stautmeister's deck and see what he's got going on here. So Stautmeister has what he's calling Cinder Pump, which has, one of my favorite cards, Cinder Smoke Wyvern, which if you didn't know, I designed the pre-con. Go buy 10 copies of it. It's a great deck. It's never lost. Beats everything. I've gone 4-0 in 7 straight constructed queues with it. That's a lie. I haven't done that. But it does beat the other precons that I've seen. I don't know. I got to imagine it'll crush the Gox's Socks precon, but that's another
bold words.
Yeah, I mean, I do all my talking beforehand, Hectares. If you haven't realized this, all my smack talk comes before the game in case you lose, and then afterwards, if you lose, you lost, and if you win, you get to be humble in victory. See how it works?
Wow, pro tips from Tiny Grimes.
There you go. So, taking a look at this list, I mean, it's an interesting removal list. I mean, I've talked to Stautmeister about this list quite a bit because I was very confused by it at first. I've kind of come around on it a little bit more. What do you think about the list, Hectares?
I like it a lot. I like Chicken Pump. I like the idea that you have creatures for your removal. Tempest got a big removal boost, starting with set 2 and keeping on going with the mini releases. And the Chicken or Cinder Smoke Wyvern is right up there with the top of the current Tempest removal package.
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, you've got the Warlord who drops in his removal. Cinder Smoke moves around its removal. Windcaller sets you up for some really cute plays sometimes. I've removed 3 guys in 1 turn with a Cinder Smoke and then hit him in the face. So you have like these potential amazing plays. Wallbreaker is a really interesting choice, and I still go back and forth on this. So it makes sense that it works well on level, right? On level, it's amazing. They play a Nuwada. You kill a Nuwada, you level a Wallbreaker. That's insane. The problem is if you miss, now you actually don't have an answer to Nuwada, and the Nuwada becomes a thorn in your side. What do you think about this Wallbreaker versus Crush decision that Stautmeister's made here?
I think it's smart. I think he said, I don't have time to play spells. I have to keep playing creatures. Let me just focus on creatures that will serve a double role of doing removal maybe, and if they don't, have a backup of other creatures removing in a similar way. So you've got the Shimmerfang, you've got the Warlord. If you play the Wallbreaker and you don't have a creature on a defender to kill, play out the Warlord and still get the damage.
Yep. Yeah, and then you have Agamemnon, who's a really useful card for clearing out those little guys. Like when you see someone play, like the best thing is if they ever play an Oracle, the 1/9 or whatever, then you're just like, all right, Agamemnon, I attack the Oracle 17 times and kill it. All right, cool. Moving on. But yeah, I mean, the Wallbreaker is really useful still with Warlord. If you can get it on level, it's bonkers. If you miss on level, it's not bad. And then I like the Flame Lances. I feel like Flame Lance kills a lot of stuff that's problematic. It kills that Leafkin before it gets going. What I really like, and I don't think Stautmeister can fit in his deck because he's playing more of a beatdown deck. Invoker plus Flame Lance in this meta is so strong because it kills Deathweaver from one Flame Lance. What do you think? Can you find a way to shoehorn Invoker in here, or do you think it's just too much beatdown? There's no room for it.
No, he's gone the opposite direction here. He isn't making time for Tempest spells.
Yeah.
The Flame Lance is the game winner in my opinion. It's either saving him from a really bad spot or it's ending the game.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how often he plays that level 1. My guess is he doesn't even want to have to play it at all, and that he would rather just go like, oh, you got a Leafkin? Boom, Warlord. He's dead.
Yep.
Oh, you got a Deathweaver? Warlord, he's dead. Like, there's a lot of different possibilities, so I look forward to seeing it. Let's bring these guys on, unless you have something else you want to add about Stautmeister's deck.
No, I'm ready to see all these plants and chickens and all this snake. Quite a zoo.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I forgot to adjust the volumes here. I think it's okay. All right, let's go ahead and bring on our first contestant. The ominous tones. I feel like Vengevine is going to win 27-0 with this as his intro music. Yes. It is on. Alright, Vengevine. Welcome back as the reigning champion.
Great to be back.
So, what is going on with this list, sir? I gotta start here. Why'd you pull a Hectares and play one Nuada?
See, I like one of two.
You guys should get a condo together somewhere.
But Nuada is great when the thing about this deck is in the queue, every time I play Patriarch turn 1, or sometimes you play like cards that they think you're playing Tarsus Deathweaver, they then just jam Orient Justicars, and then you don't care, and then level 2 and 3 they regret it when you're not actually that deck. But for like the Nuada is great for the matchups where like Aloyan, where you just jam a Nuada and they can't deal with it when you have the plants going. Okay.
So basically your theory is you're not really running a plant deck, but against a couple of matchups, it's really great to have that plant as a possibility.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Fair enough. And what about Cull? Do you think Cull is a really necessary card right now in this metagame?
Yeah, I won't. I had 3 originally, but I think there's just too many. Sometimes like there's so much pump now that Cull isn't enough, I think. So I want it as like a diverse removal as possible. And for this deck, since Patriarch's the most important card, with Cersei and Serpent do a good job on keeping things not going crazy.
All right, let me ask you about Serpent. And this is my question. What's the deal with Serpent?
I love Serpent. When that card came out, I was excited about it, and I tried it in like everything, but it didn't really catch on, and I was kind of sad about that. I tried in some Yeti decks with it. I don't know. I think it has like pretty solid stats for like it's a defense, and if you just have like Patriarch to buff it, it just like gets like annoying, and like either the opponent tries to ignore it, and then it's like too late and they have to deal with it if you just roars and whatever, or they'll trade with it and you always like get ahead.
Okay, interesting. Have you thought about playing it in like an AU deck as well? Like, do you look at Serpent and you're just like, this dude goes in every deck Patriarch is in, or do you only put it in specific decks that you feel like it really complements the rest of the deck?
Yeah, I think it depends how hard it is for your deck to deal with the cards that you're afraid of.
Okay.
So like in AU, you have a lot of mobility and gargoyles, so I don't. If you build it like that way, I don't think you'll need Serpent. But I don't know. I think it's a list dependent.
Okay, fair enough. So are you specifically looking at Deathweaver and saying, "Oh wow, Lotus is just like the perfect answer for Deathweaver"?
Yeah, like I played a lot of Death Weaver in the queue, so I've just been like throwing a serpent at it, and they've just been crying. So it's been working out.
It actually works out really well as well because you get to kill them. Not like it works out perfectly with Shallow Grave, I believe. Yeah. So with the way the poison is going to work, you hit them on their turn, they end their turn, and then the poison hits on your turn, and so you're able to actually just block with one and still kill them. Whereas normally that's a really dangerous move because they can always just pop a Shallow Grave on it and punish you. Hector, do you have any questions for Vengevine here about his list?
No, I'm interested to see how the Shimmer Fangs play out. It's interesting to hear how he has the more aggressive approach with them, treating them as a threat that eventually will have to be dealt with and getting damage in along the way.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Vengevine, you have quite a bit of removal here in creature form in Cersei and Serpent. I think that's interesting. And then you just kind of have the two calls. It seems like a just in case card. Like, oh, he's got a Nuada out. It's not buffed. I can take that out. Is that kind of what you're going with there?
Yeah, I like creature removal in this meta or the game in general more than like having like 10 spells, because like I played a lot of NT before like set 2 came out, and just you had hands where you just had 5 spells, and like that doesn't develop your board in a game where you're trying to level like giant creatures.
Right. Okay. Well, let's bring on. Oh, I almost didn't give you the chance to tell us how badly you're going to win Vengevine. Vengevine, as the reigning champ, are you going to sweep this thing? Or are you going to let the people's champ have like one game?
Agamemnon seems pretty annoying late game, so I feel like if I don't kill those early enough, he just will like move it and kill all my tiny creatures. Or if I don't drop Thunder Swords for like his Reverends. So he also has Serpent, so how do I beat his own Serpent? The card's insane, right?
I don't know. It's the best card in the game, I hear from you guys.
I don't know. I think it'll be close. I don't think someone has a clear advantage. If he gets very aggressive, and I don't have like the Circes or like dump Lotus on all his creatures, then I probably have trouble. Or if I just keep it to late game, I think I got it.
Okay, so we'll say is 3-1 a good guess for you? You think you're going to beat him 3-1?
Yeah, we'll do 3-1 this time.
All right, 3-1. 3-1 it is. All right, let's bring in Stautmeister. Apparently, my daughter's favorite contestant ever on the Forge, at least by his theme music. Oh yeah, like I haven't heard enough of this song. Thanks, Stautmeister.
The snow glows white on the mountains.
All right, Stautmeister. You gonna let this thing go? You gonna win this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So whose serpents are better? Your opponent has 3 serpents, sir. He's one up you in the serpent department.
Yeah, but I got one advantage. I can move my serpents around the board, whereas his are going to stay in the same lane.
Ooh, I hadn't thought about that.
So I got slithering serpents while he got the statues.
Slithering serpents. Well, that's really good. All right. So I've used your deck a little bit. I've actually liked it. I think it was plants that I really, really struggled against. So how's your deck been doing overall? Do you feel like it's a good deck against most of the decks in the meta, except for maybe zombies?
Yeah, it's been performing really well. With the A1 Alliance, we've also been just testing it out because it was the first Wyvern list that was published or that people were actually playing. And it's been performing really well. It's been even taken out the Drix for Gnomes, which is Drix Avatar Gnome decks.
Mm-hmm.
And even against plants, the biggest problem is 2.4 if you don't have a commanding lead by then. And they drop like the Varna Spec 2, the Tarsus 2, and they fill up the board too much. Because then the only way for you to deal with it is either underleveled Cinder Smoke shenanigans or Warlord Blowout. So that was the main issue. Yeti himself, Plant itself, has been relatively well because people do not expect the amount of aggression that this deck can bring. Like they drop a turn 1 Nuada, and I drop a Cinder Fist and a Wall Breaker, followed up by a Patriarch Roar, and then I've got 3 creatures, and I just take out 2 of their guys, and I've got a full board.
Yeah,
and
I can see that.
So that's and then all the creatures that I have, basically the 3 attack ones. Yeah, I've discussed this with you, that like the Cinder Smoke Wyvern is buff for the Patriarch with the damage. It's 10-9. The Warlord is an 8-11 or an 8-9, and all the creatures that get buffed actually do tons of damage. Like I play this deck as big dumb animals, where you just drop your biggest creatures and they need to deal with it. Which is also why I'm a bit afraid. Like when I saw his list of Vengevine, I thought, wow, it's pretty harsh, because I go for early board control and Cersei just completely wrecks that. So
yeah, but your guys can blow Cersei out pretty well. Like if you buff a Cinder Smoke, you can just move over and eat her.
Yeah.
You can go like, I don't know, you can get her most of the way dead with a Warlord and then finish her off. So
yeah, he does have the Patriarch on the Cersei, which makes her a 3/7, and I don't have something that can deal with a 3/7.
That's true. I guess you're gonna have to hope he doesn't get the combo going. So would you say Patriarch is the most important card in your deck, since you have so many small attack guys?
Yeah, definitely. Like even if I have a hand, the only exception is if I draw like 3 Cinder Smokes and the Patriarch, then I won't drop the Patriarch. But when I'm going first, I generally just drop a turn 1 Patriarch, just to have the 2.1 potential blowout, because I will have creatures on the board going into level 2, and the Patriarch blowout is back in this deck like it was in Growbots, basically.
And is it? It's also a bit misleading, I feel like. If you're on the play and you play a Patriarch, your opponent really doesn't know what you're playing. You could be playing a wide range of decks at that point.
Yeah, that's also something that, like some people get deterred by it, like for playing Gargoyles or like other defenders, because they think you're playing Yeti, and then when you drop your Warlords, they really think you're playing Yetis, and then they think you're gonna control the board slowly, and then you just completely overwhelm them with your massive stuff.
All right, yeah, very tricky, and you know what? There's nothing I like more than tricky. I love discarding turn 1. Some random, like a Krogias, and just be like, discard Krogias. And they're like, oh god, he's playing dragons. And you're like, yep, dragons all day.
Dragons for life.
All right, well, how do you think you're going to do today, Stautmeister?
I think it's going to be a 3-2 again. Because I think this matchup is going to be really intense, because both of us can really get like a turn 1.4 or 2.1 win if we get everything rolling.
Interesting. All right. Well, good luck today, sir. And let me ask Hectares. Hectares, who do you think is going to win this matchup? Is it going to be the reigning champion who took down the 22-time champion Evil Weevil, or is it going to be the People's Champ Stautmeister?
I'm going to go with the People's Champ here. He's piloting the chicken, and I think that's going to give him a good advantage this matchup. 3-1 Stautmeister.
Interesting. I don't know. I don't know what to make of Vengevine's list. It's so crazy that it just might work. Like, it's not crazy, but it's like really mixing multiple lists together, I feel like. I like all the removal he has. I feel like that level of removal could really mess with Stautmeister. But Stautmeister is really good with his list. Like, this is his list. He's been playing it non-stop. I'm not sure I get the same feeling from Vengevine with his list. I kind of feel like it's a list that Vengevine is using. Because of that, I feel like Stautmeister's list I give maybe a slight edge to. I think Stautmeister is going to play it with a little bit more focus and knowledge. And so I'm going to give Stautmeister, what did you say?
3-1.
I was going to say 3-1 also, but I can't copy you. So you know what? Stautmeister is going to squeak it out 3-2. That's what's going to happen. Why'd I let you go first? Oh,
Sounds
man.
good. I'm looking forward to 5 matches with these decks. I think they'll all be very interesting.
I do too. I'm looking forward to Shimmerfang Serpent. I don't think we're going to see a lot of Serpent, but I hope we do. I hope Vengevine sticks to what he said, and that he loves Serpent and plays him nonstop. All right. Let's go ahead and get this thing going, and good luck to both combatants. I think we'll have some good games here.
Snake.
All right. So Vengevine has his an interesting start. I mean, what do you do here? Patriarch seems like the obvious play. You could just play Cersei though, drop her down, and then be like, all right, Stautmeister, Cersei's gonna roam the board and just eat all your dudes, and I'm gonna drop another Patriarch next turn and really eat all your dudes.
Yeah, well, we see that he passed up on one snake. It wasn't this card that has to come down.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, okay. Snake into Patriarch right out the gate. Now we're getting to see the power of the snake. I like it. Oh, are we going to see Snake Patriarch come back the other way?
It could be. I would be surprised by that play, but if Vengevine is all about these early snakes, now would be the time to get one off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. What's the better play here? To go 2 Patriarchs, just get them leveled? Because it feels like Oros isn't that great of a play. Lotus isn't that great of a play. I think it's either Snake Patriarch or double Patriarch. What would you play here, Hectares?
Yeah, I would probably go Snake Patriarch, just to have a little diversity with what's coming through my level 2.
Interesting. He's playing him in 3. I thought he would play him in 1 to basically eat that Patriarch for very little cost, but maybe he's thinking, I want to be able to stop this Wyvern from moving all around and sort of cut off the middle of the board. It's an interesting choice.
He does have the out of, if the lanes are full, he can drop Lotus and sort of recover the board. You're not always trying to do that in early in the game with a deck like his, but because of this particular matchup, it may actually make sense. So I probably would have ignored the Serpent here and tried to draw into a Lotus this turn with a full board.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, the Patriarch was going to die from the poison, so overwriting it isn't as kind of crazy as it might have first looked, but I don't know. What I can't tell what that alternate art card is. Is that a wind caller? I'm not sure. Let's see. So he's got some choices here. I mean, if he wants, he could battle, throw down a Warlord in 5, blow out that Patriarch, eat it. He could fill the board with some Echo Wisps, put a bunch of pressure on. He has quite a few choices here of what he wants to do. He could even just move that Shimmerfang into 3 to kill a 5/8 Shimmerfang. I mean, he's got options. He could do that and then drop the Phoenix in 5. I really don't know what he's going to do, to be honest. I feel like he's got lots of plays here. But he did say he was playing a beatdown deck, so maybe just goes beatdown and just like drops Phoenix in 2 and Echo Wisp 3/4. I don't know. What would you do here?
I sort of like dropping Warlord to set up the next turn, but I'm not sure exactly what I would do. His list is so different from things that I have played previously, so I think as these games go on, we'll get a better sense of their early priorities.
See, I was thinking about that play, but with Phoenix. Then you have this giant 9/8 threat that's roaming the board, moves around, gets out of the way of the Wyvern. I'm kind of surprised to see him roar the Warlord there, so now the Patriarch can't buff it. That surprised me a little bit. All right, there's a solid play. Filling the board, got a Nuada down. Now we're seeing like this crazy one of working, right? So, Stautmeister doesn't have a great answer for Nuada unless he just happens to draw a wall breaker. Oh wait, he did.
Yeah, and you see the Warlord, the Yeti side of this thing come together. He's got 3 Yetis on the board right now. Last turn he set up an extra lane that would deal damage if blocked. And I think he's playing to that side of the board control. But both of these players have good answers to each other's removal packages and each other's.
For sure. Yeah, so this was an interesting choice. Do you play the Oros there or the Shimmerfang? So that's how much he likes Shimmerfang. He would rather level Shimmerfang than Oros, because either of them would have died and traded, and he chose Shimmerfang over Oros at the end of player level 1. So that is pretty clear that that's his guy. All right, Stautmeister's got the board here, but he's got it with pretty bad creatures. He's really relying on finding a Patriarch at some point to give him something. And are we going to see another Shimmerfang? Like in 5, he won't die at the start of his turn, but he will die in the long run.
I think he would go for the Serpent here. I think the problem with Oros in this matchup is that if the Warlords come down, then there's no guaranteed kill on something that takes 2 blocks.
Yep, that's true. This has been interesting so far. Alright, so he's got his Flame Lance if he wants it. I don't think he does. Yeah, Wyvern into Roar, that seems reasonable. Gives him one more. Gives him a pretty reasonable Wyvern. The problem with that play is he doesn't have a lot of board presence here. Like this Lotus into a Patriarch, if it hits correctly, could be really strong. He was showing he might move the Cersei over, which seems reasonable. He can buff it with the Patriarch. What do you think here? What kind of direction would you go here?
I might put a Lotus in 4 and see if it pops in front of the Warlord. Wouldn't be disappointed with that, and then play the Patriarch out afterward. If it doesn't pop in front of the Warlord, then I still have the Cersei play after that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because the reason is that it's an underleveled hand, and other than that, there's not a lot he can do. And yeah, now he can just move over if he really wants.
The Wyvern still kills the Lotus, but I guess he's... I don't know. It took away the ability for it to kill the Cersei. I would just leave the Cersei. So here, I would just leave the Cersei where it is.
I agree. You can take the 6 damage in order to keep Cersei alive. He's probably going to move the Wyvern into 5 because he wants to move it.
Yeah.
All right, so he's just clogging lanes there. What's he going to make as a second play? So this is kind of the downside, right? So he drew the Wall Breaker, but he can't really play it. But then we do get to see the crazy upside of the Wyvern of dancing it all around the board and doing terrible things to his opponent.
I really like the underlevel or the Shaman coming down on a level 1 Wyvern is one of my favorite plays. And you're not thinking about it because you haven't seen it. And then all of a sudden it's player level 2. You get a level 1 that normally can't hit a threat, but because the Wyvern has a little bit of pump, it's dealing a lot of damage.
Yep. And what do you do here? I mean, he's got a tough choice. He hasn't leveled a Thundersaur yet. He's staring down the barrel of 3 underleveled Thundersaurs. Thundersaurs are generally pretty good against Yetis, but this isn't really a Yeti deck. I'm not really sure how good Thundersaur is in this particular matchup. It feels like it would be pretty decent.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough call. I think he's going with the thought that his Patriarch is guaranteed to work with some of the rest of his deck, and the Thundersaur, if the wrong board state happens, he just won't be able to play it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was probably the right choice. I mean, his deck is pretty reliant on Patriarch. Alright, so Edelon try to kill. And like he said himself, this is where Cull becomes really dicey. Cull's kind of useless here.
Yep, yeah, and it's just a level 1 Cinder Smoke Wyvern, so that's the kind of card that you do want to target, but your timing has to be right.
Yeah, I like Cersei there because if he moves the Wyvern, Cersei's able to move over and kill it. Unfortunately, his opponent does have Flame Lance, so he's probably going to lance the Cersei. And there we saw Wyvern do 6 damage to a guy, 6 damage to the face. Those Wyverns, they can do crazy stuff if you let them survive a while. And that Wyvern's lasted a while. I think he's going to play... Well, actually, the nice thing is he has 3 ways in his hand to kill that Wyvern. So
yeah.
I think you have to level the Cersei 3. The question is, do you play the Nuada? He already saw the Wallbreaker 2, but now we are in 3.1. Is Nuada worth it? I can't tell with his deck if Nuada is worth playing or not.
The wall breaker makes it so tough. I probably wouldn't play it here, but I would be disappointed not to be able to play it.
See, I feel like if you feel like you can't play Nuada here, the wall breaker has won. Like, he's won that battle then. If he's gotten you to where you're like, listen, I just can't play the cards I need to play, even though he only leveled one wall breaker. I think if it were me, I feel like he's so far behind here, I'd probably play the wall breaker and say, let's see if you got it, Stautmeister. Did you get the one or not? And Stautmeister did not. So it looks like he might have a chance. He's got his Warlord 3 followed by Flame Lance. Nope, he didn't Flame Lance.
That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, he's gonna give him one pop with it.
So I think one play he could have considered was actually taking out the Seedling.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a great play, but in this case, it would have prevented a plant proc.
Yeah, a 14/14 plant is a little bit scary. And there's the Patriarch 3 at 10/19 Cersei. Oh my god. That's a big Cersei, Hectares. I don't know if you agree with me on that one. That's a pretty big Cersei.
Showing the relevance of Patriarch now.
And Vengevine really has made a strong comeback here. I'm not sure if he'll be able to finish it off, as we see two Warlord 2s in his hand and the Wall Breaker, so he can blow out the Nuada. But the Nuada did pull off a 14/14. That's not too shabby. I mean, this has been I almost said it's been a one-sided 3-point level 3, but it's been kind of one-sided. I mean, he did find the Warlord right away. His opponent has played 3 3s, so I'll be interested to see if that's what the sheer power of the 3s wins this game or not. All right, he is able to get rid of the Cersei though.
Wow,
that was pretty big. So I guess he's going to do that and roar. I don't love that play, but what else does he have? I mean, that's a pretty lousy hand right there. Luckily, he already had a crazy looking board.
Yeah, he didn't need much to sustain what he was going with.
Oh, and then poor Stautmeister. He finally has kind of an opening, and he doesn't get a great hand. You know what's killing him is that Tree Folk. It really does come back to he could have eaten that 1/1 for very little cost, and he decided not to.
Yeah, well, I mean, he could have been playing around the Lotus. If Vengevine had a Lotus in hand, taking out the token would have been a lot less
I
valuable.
believe I'm looking at lethal here. So it looks like we've got Vengevine picking up the first game. Congratulations to Vengevine. Where is
It's going to make Stout work for that 3-1 finish.
Yeah, you know what? That 3-2 that I went with, all because of my own decisions, that's looking pretty good right now. I'm going to get a giveaway rolling while they start the next game here.
Got an Avalanche Invoker as a reward for that win.
Wow, nice. So it's going to be let's see. It's going to be Serpent. Hashtag Serpent. That is your code word. You do need to be a follower of the stream to be eligible to win giveaways. Feel free to unfollow instantly. It's up to you. You are not my prisoner. And go ahead and put in hashtag Serpent, and we'll roll that off as this game gets going. So let's see. I'm really excited about Game 2. What do you think about Game 1 there, Hectares? Do you think we're going to see anything different from either side?
I think they're both sort of playing around each other's what each of them has to draw in early in the game, seeing which threats. They both have a little bit of flexibility in which cards they play out. So I would expect it to go differently, but only because of what they see early.
Gotcha. I mean, we had that point where Stautmeister could have gone Phoenix Roar early. It would have put a little more pressure on the board, but he would have given up the 3 damage that he got anyway. I don't know. I'll be interested to see how this plays out. But Vengevine says, plan works well, Patriarch. Boom.
Yeah, it sure did.
All right.
Phoenix might be less playable because of the Cersei's. I'm not sure if that's what it is, but they can always move the follow-up turn if the Phoenix moves out of the way, and then having that level 2 might just be too big of a risk.
Sure, that's pretty reasonable. And there we go. Immediately, big serpent.
Same opener, both players.
Yep. Let's see. I've never seen a Soulforge game that replicated one to 100%. So we'll see if this will be the first. I already think it's different. Yeah, I like empty landing an Oros here, and then Patriarch. Is he gonna do the same thing? Is he gonna overwrite that Patriarch again? I'm curious to see. I mean, it worked for him last time, I guess. Yeah, he's like, I don't know. Was that the right play last time or not? Was that my winning play?
Yeah, it's not what I would have done last game, and I'm not sure if I've learned my lesson as to why he's doing it again here.
Yeah, I don't think I would have played it here either. But it's an interesting play. He seems to like it. I mean, It sets him up for a roar, crushing him pretty hard. I don't know. I mean, it gets the guy off the board, I guess. I mean, I think what it is he likes Serpent so much. He has a much better respect for serpents than we have. I think we're just kind of like, serpent, whatever, that's fine. And he's like, oh my god, it's a serpent.
Yep.
I think I would Cersei in 4 also. That way you set up the Wyvern kill.
Right.
I don't know about the Thundersword in 1. What do you think about that? Could Edelon in 1 kill him? Start popping out some little mini threats. You could Cersei in 1, get that leveled. Or
I think I would double Cersei here.
Yeah, just to get him leveled. Do you feel like Stautmeister's threats are strong enough? We did see Cersei's be crazy with Patriarchs.
I mean, he's leveling the Patriarchs. He might as well drop the Cersei's in anticipation of getting 2-for-1s all game.
Yeah, I think that could be pretty strong here. So let's see what direction Stautmeister goes here. Does he? I mean, he could go double roar, make a giant Patriarch that eats that Thundersword. The problem with that play seems to be Cersei moves over, kills Wyvern.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, this to me is where Windcaller is difficult. You want to play Windcaller here, but in order to play Windcaller, you have to overwrite the Warlord. And you have to do it pre-combat, because otherwise Cersei kills you. That, to me, is one of my big problems with that card. I feel like you give up a little bit of what you're trying to do with that deck to make that play. And then he had to roar post-combat, which was kind of unfortunate. I think I would have roared pre-combat, because Cersei's going to move over and kill the Warlord and the Windcaller anyway, and you could have done a little bit more damage with that Wyvern. I don't know.
I wasn't able to see it. It did look like he roared pre-combat to me.
Did it?
Otherwise, I think the Thundersword would be dead.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. He did. What am I talking about? Yes, he did. It was before he moved the Wyvern, though, is my point. He moved the Wyvern first. He gave up a little bit of damage to give the Shaman a bigger body. But the Shaman's going to die anyway, I think.
It does turn out to be a little bit relevant here. I'm not sure if it would have changed Benjon's play at all, but it took away the call opportunity.
Yeah, it did. And it also made it, I think, a little less likely for him to play the Lotus there and just try to fill lanes, because that Windcaller had a reasonable body. All right. Boom. The chickens are going wild now. Oh, and they're buffed. Oh, my goodness. All right, so he's got to kill one with Oros, I would think. And I guess here it feels like you pretty much have to play Thundersword 2 and 5, or why did you play Thundersword?
Yeah, you could also... He's going to be able to trade the chicken for the Thundersword, or just battle and not make that trade if he has something better in hand. I don't know. Very interesting board state with the mobility. Like, mobility heavy decks really create challenging games to think through all the various lines, because every every placement of every creature matters more.
For sure. I really think, like, I would, if it was me, I'd have a hard time getting away from Thundersaur 5 because I say, okay, I invested in this Thundersaur. This is really the win condition now I'm going for. If I can get a Thundersaur 3 going, I basically win. So let's see if I can get it going. All right, is he going to do a roar? Is he going to go double roar so he can move over? Oh, he doesn't have to. He's got Patriarch too. Yep. That's pretty strong. And now, barring some sort of... Okay, this is where Cersei's really good.
Yep.
An 11-15 Wyvern cleared by a lowly little Cersei. That was pretty strong.
Yeah, and likewise, the Wyvern also took out the Thundersaur.
Yeah.
That was sizable 7-9 or something like that. So
Yep.
both of these creature-based removals are showing their strength.
For sure. So it looks like we're going to have a board state of basically two Patriarchs just staring at each other on the board. Where do you stick his Patriarch? Oh, I guess he's tempted to block into... Not sure he needs to do that. Okay, it looks like he's not going to. Because it feels like if you don't block, an underleveled play will kill that Patriarch anyway. Oh, and you're set up for this amazing play that he's got.
Yeah, that's huge. Thundersaur and Patriarch work so nicely together for finishing off creatures, but then also generating that huge Thundersword.
That Flame Lance was huge. That saved him a lot of damage.
Yep.
Yeah, Flame Lance is really strong. I really like Flame Lance with Wyvern also, because you can do stuff like Flame Lance a guy mostly dead, Wyvern moves over, finishes him off, or Warlord finishes him off. Flame Lance seems to be positioned pretty well right now. All right, what's he going to do? Is he going to Serpent in front of the Thundersaur? Okay. I was like, what? That's a weird way to handle. How is he going to handle this Thundersaur, by the way?
Yeah,
I don't know if you noticed, Hectares. He's a 13-17.
That is going to be a real problem. And I think that's why Vengevine wanted to get that out, because he knew it was going to be almost impossible for Stautmeister to deal with once it was grown.
I think so, too. I think Stautmeister's plan here is what Thundersaur? I have 79 health. I'm going to beat you before Thundersaur beats me. I think that's his plan. And it might work, because that Wyvern does actually 12 a turn if he can't clog the lanes. So we'll see what he can do. With all this movement and no creatures in hand, this is kind of tough. Would you consider something like Double Roar, or would you play Serpent Roar? I think I would go Serpent Roar just to clog one of these lanes, cause some problems.
Yeah, I would Serpent Roar here.
And I would probably put him in 3 so he doesn't get eaten by that Wyvern. Because with a Roar 2, Wyvern can just move over. Well, actually, no. Anything can move over. But I guess he wanted to prevent the damage, so...
Since Patriarch lives, I think it is a fine block there, but...
You know what? I actually like the block the more I think about it, because all he wants to do is win with the Thundersaur. So I think that's the right play, actually. Oh my god. And he got it again. Alright, Stautmeister. You gotta get it going right here, man. You are in some trouble.
Not even a Warlord 3 would save him at this point.
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing he's set up so that Wyvern will trade. And the really cool thing is that now he can't stick that Thundersaur 3 in front of something. But what he can do is hit the battle button and win.
Battle button's a good play.
That's a good play. That's always my favorite win. All right, so the first giveaway goes to Ivan the Awesome. So you won't get your giveaway just yet, but you'll get it soon. All right. So yeah, we're gonna go. The next giveaway is gonna be #Vengevine, but you have to spell it how he spells it. So here we go. #Vengevine. Like that. I forgot to ask him why his name is spelled like that. Oh man, now I have to really root for him to win so I can ask him. This is not the hand I think he wanted to start with. Though we saw Thundersword just cruise to victory last time.
Yeah.
So maybe he's just like, all right, I'll take an empty lane Thundersword.
I was planning to play Patriarchs anyway. He's fine with that.
That works out pretty well. Though he did get a Cersei, and I really think he wants to get Cersei down also. I think I would consider going one Patriarch and Cersei. What about you? Would you have considered that, or you just think just get that Thundersword as big as you can, as quick as you can?
I think he's trapped the Wyvern. I think he wants to push for the game ender in player level 1 this time. He's taking it forward a player level each game.
He wants to show off all the different options he has to win. I like it. All right. That's a good point. So someone said that Wyvern is not that great right here because of the Thundersword. Oh, interesting. Okay, I suppose that works reasonably well. He'll be able to move the Wyvern over. Oh, no, never mind. I was going to say he could move it over next turn and finish him off, but he'll probably pick him up. He has a lot of ways to do 3 damage, whether it be Flame Lance or Warlord 1s or things like that. Okay, that's reasonable. He gets him to live. And then do you play Cersei in 1? Yeah. What do you think, Hector? Cersei in 1?
Yeah, the only other thing I was considering was Epidemic. I don't think it was necessary because of the chance that he could draw into Patriarch, but I kind of like preserving the health on that Thundersword.
Yeah, I could see that, especially since he keeps doing that, where he drops down and finishing it. But getting the Cersei leveled, I think, is somewhat important.
Yeah, it could be the difference between dominating player level 2 or just evening up.
Yep, and hey, look at that. You got a call. I think I would have dropped my Thundersword in front of the Warlord. I realize you take more damage. You don't get the Thundersword hit right away, but it takes away his Warlord plays. He becomes much more hesitant to want to play that Warlord.
Yeah, that's one thing you have to keep track of is how many Warlords your opponent has played if they're running 3.
All right. I'm not sure if I would play Cersei here. We're on 2.1. It's under leveled now. I'm not saying I wouldn't play it, but I certainly wouldn't auto play it. We've never seen him really play Eidolons, which I think is interesting. Like Eidolon here is pretty good if he just wants to kill that Warlord, but also ignoring the Warlord seems perfectly reasonable, unless he's worried about Patriarch, which probably is a concern. It's just such an interesting matchup. All right, so he's just going to go for the damage push. Daring him. He is daring him to again blow out his Thundersword to a Warlord. He's like, come on. Bring it on, man. You can't have found another one, can you? Can you? Ah, you can. No. Every time with that dang Warlord. Plus side, 2 Warlords are out. That's got to make him feel good.
Would you Thundersword in 3 here?
Oh, Thundersword in 3. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's a good way to force that Agamemnon to grow him. That's pretty funny. You completely punish his Agamemnon. I guess it doesn't punish him. He doesn't have to battle again, right? Or does he? Do you have to battle again?
Yeah, you have to battle again.
Oh, you don't even have the option.
He would have to overwrite if he wants to prevent that.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty strong play then. Wow, what do you do here? A 420 Thundersword. That is a tough one. Stick the Wyvern in 4, I guess. Eating the Patriarch. That's something. Then what? Then you roar. Interesting. I guess that does put a lot of damage on that Thundersword. So he's down to 8, which is... I almost said that's a Warlord 3. Problem is, We're on player level 2, and it's not. He might not live to level 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think he will though. And that's a pretty good play. He's got him over. Did you just go my daughter style and just play the level 2s here? They're pretty good. Oros and Patriarch seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I kind of like not blocking the Warlord with the Oros because otherwise the chicken can just kill it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I
And
agree.
this block makes sense.
Yeah, but he is facing the problem of what I talked about before. What I really like about this deck, of either Patriarch now buffing him, killing, or even if he didn't have that Patriarch, just moving over and then Flamelance finishing him off. Like it's a pretty strong set of options he has here. So he really did rescue his board pretty darn well. And that's the one downside of not killing that Warlord there with the Oros. You preserve him a little bit, but when your opponent's playing Patriarch, we basically, or not we, Vengevine, allowed Stautmeister to have a 10-14 Warlord for free. Hectares. What are you doing, man? You didn't want to block him. You feel stupid now?
I think this is good. I think he's still pretty close to dead. I think leaving that thing alive is inviting Thundersword 3.1. I think that's what he'll.
Oh, I see.
I think that's what his plan is.
I see where we're going. Let's see. How close is he? Could he have roared Epidemic? That wouldn't have been enough. All right, so the Wyvern's going to come over. He's going to chow down on him. Oh, Stautmeister doesn't have what he always has, which is Answer. So he doesn't have that Flame Lance to pick up that Thundersword for free right here. He's actually going to have to probably take damage from the Thundersword for I almost said for the first time ever, except for the fact that Thundersword beat him last game. Okay. So he's going to take 6 from him. That's a cool way to handle him. Shimmer Fang. Let's see. What'd you say?
Yeah, just a single battle
Single.
instead of two battles.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Thundersoar somewhere here. Okay. That's a little bit dicey because if he goes Warlord and then attacks, the Thundersoar dies. I might have been happier to play Thundersoar not in front of a Warlord. Not that
I don't think he had too much choice because of the if he let it swing at him last turn, he would be dead right now.
That's probably bad. Yeah, he's in pretty big trouble. You know what? Letting that Warlord live was a huge turning point in this game. Do you agree with that or not? Seems like that Warlord has done a ton of work.
Yeah, beating down a Thundersoar.
I mean, he's lived now and done a bunch of damage and killed a bunch of guys. Like, that was a pretty defining moment. And now he wins the game, actually. I see Flame Lances. Well, I mean, he would get the Flame Lance is lethal. But if it wasn't lethal, that Warlord would come in for the kill.
Would have won the game.
So, yeah, it's funny how what seemed like a pretty reasonable idea ended up pretty much losing because Patriarch is really that strong. All right, let's roll off the next winner. Winner goes to Rubber Soul 2. I'm ready to veto that since he beat me last night. Like I was in my bed, all calm, getting ready for bed. And then I hit against Rubber Soul 2 and he beats me. And so then I try to rematch him and he just ignores me. So Tiny Grams will not be ignored. All right, so this giveaway is going to be #comeback.
He just knew to retire on top.
What's that?
He just knew to stop while he was ahead.
Yeah, he did. A darn Rubber Soul 2. I would way rather play Rubber Soul 1, but that guy never challenges me.
He's missing.
Yep. All right. Any thoughts on what we're going to see differently? I mean, this seems to be pretty much the same game over and over, just with slight differences as Stautmeister can off with those warlords. Like every time Vengevine's like, yes, this Thundersword is going to do work, and then Stautmeister would be like, have you heard of the warlord? Bam! So it's making me wonder how valuable Thundersword is. Did Vengevine get sort of tricked into thinking he was really good in this matchup, the one game where it dominated, or not?
Yeah, it's possible that the preference for the Thundersword early there cost him a little bit in terms of his flexibility, committing him to one plan.
Mm-hmm. And he had a big lead. If he had been playing other guys instead, he might have been able to push that through. All right, so let's see if he's going to do his thing where he blocks and then puts a Patriarch in one. Yep. So it's interesting. I think Avengevine is having a fairly aggressive deck. I'm wondering if he's just evaluated this and said, all right, Stautmeister just has a more aggressive deck. All I have to do is live longer than Stautmeister, and I'll beat him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. In that last game, he just barely got edged out, and he really only needed to stay alive for 1 or 2 more turns and draw into a bomb.
Mm-hmm. I think we're definitely going to see Patriarch here. The question becomes, is it double Patriarch? It is not. He's going to win Caller over to be able to block that Oros, not take a bunch of damage. Oh, no. Nope, he's going to win Caller into an empty lane. Interesting. And then payback of the full lane Lotus into Aurora, and still having a lot of his board get eaten. Oh, you know what he's going to do. He's got to have a Flame Lance, right? Stautmeister always has a way to handle guys that look like they're going to do stuff. Come on, Stautmeister. Don't let us down. Oh, Stautmeister. Just a standard trade of a creature? All right. We'll let that go.
Well, it was a little bit better than standard, right? Because of the Patriarch buff on the Thundersword.
Yep. This is interesting. Is this the first Thundersword Stautmeister has played? I believe it is.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think his theory must be, my deck is so aggressive, I'm not going to play Thundersword unless he's a really aggressive play. And like, there he is. He's a giant.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is really risky with what Stautmeister has in his deck. All right, so he hasn't learned a lesson. He thinks that Thundersword is still the right approach. I'm not sure I disagree with him.
Yeah, I don't think Devour is playable here. Too much easy 3 damage that Stout could draw into, that kind of thing.
So is he going to double Wyvern, or is he going to take the obvious play and Flame Lance the Cersei? I'll be kind of surprised if he doesn't Flame Lance the Cersei. But
I wouldn't be that surprised if he passes on Flame Lance here.
Yeah, double Wyvern is pretty strong. Getting them both leveled, going into player level 2. Flame Lance does not level well. Wyvern really, really levels well. Though, I mean, Wyvern's that weird card of, is it better to have a level 1 to get buffed with the Patriarch, since it doesn't get buffed on level 2? I don't know. It's interesting. And then you have Cersei to keep in mind, that if you get a giant level 1, there's so many interesting variables in this game. All right.
I think I would have gone double Wyvern there. That's a very interesting choice.
Yeah. All right. And then now Thundersword dies and doesn't gain anything. But you know what he's going to do? What he always does. Oh, he probably won't actually, because he has the Shenanigans play. Okay, he's going for Warlord. See, I thought he was going to play the Shenanigans play and go like Wyvern, and then move the Wyvern over with the Wind Caller and just pretty much wipe his board that route. I'm actually really surprised he didn't do that.
I think he didn't because he knew that he could follow it up the next turn and just basically do the same thing with the level 2 Wyvern.
Yeah, just moving the Wyvern over. Yeah, maybe.
He's got other cards that have similar ways to kill the Serpent for free. So
yeah, the other thing is, with 2 Wyverns on the board, it's really hard to play wind callers because it cuts off a lot of the board.
Mhm.
So I think that was actually the right play there. The wind caller is the flashy, cool play, but it's not always the right play because it is a very limiting card. So actually looking at that, I think I agree with you there that he did make the right play. It would have been nice to see the flashy play, but he made the correct play instead.
And he can always bring a level 1 Wyvern up to 8 damage or something easily. Player level 3 if it goes that late.
Sure. I think you kill this Wyvern here with the Patriarch, though. Yeah. All right. So now he's got his Wyvern that he can buff and move over and kill. So I'm kind of guessing we're going to see something like Warlord 1, Roar, move Wyvern over to 3, and kill him, yeah.
Going for 16. Really nice.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty strong play. He's put a lot of pressure on the board, and wow, that was a really big Cersei. Without that Cersei, I was thinking Stautmeister might just completely run this one over. He pulled it. That was a big one.
So he chooses to take out the Wyvern.
I think you have to. You
Yeah.
absolutely have to. I was hoping. Oh, we got it.
Yeah. That's pretty good. That protects his life total quite a bit.
Yep, that was a really, really big draw there. If that Wyvern lives, I think Stautmeister wins without much problem. He's in amazing shape, though. Because how does he handle a 226 Thundersaur? How about Cull? That seems reasonable.
Still takes 20 damage, though.
Yeah. Takes 20, and there's still a 10-8 Warlord hanging around that he has to deal with. He's at 25, so the Flame Lance is 7. That's 17. Yeah, that's close.
Wow.
He's at 8. This is what Stautmeister said. He has to be pretty much locking the game down right here if he wants to win. And this 3.1, I think, probably iced him. Like, if he had drawn well here on 3.1, he might have actually made this comeback. I highly doubt he's going to be able to.
Wyvern for lethal. Let's see if he pulls it off.
Yeah, and a Thundersaur 3. Like, look at the difference in 3.1. Garbage, 2 best cards in the guy's deck. That's an interesting way to concede. I've never seen that before. All right. So that's it.
Look at that Thundersaur alt art.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's one of the few alt arts I really regret not getting. All right. Man, I really wish he hadn't struck out there on player level 2 just so we could see what would have happened. That had the chance to be a really interesting finish as he tries to preserve his life total. Instead, he's just like, I have nothing. And Stautmeister's like, I have everything. Ball game. All right. I don't think we've done the third giveaway yet, so let's go ahead and do the comeback giveaway. All right, here we go. The winner is Son of the Emperor. It's not the Emperor himself. It's merely his son. But here we are, Hectares. Here we are. For all the glory and the legendary of their choice. Who's going to get it done? Stautmeister or Vengevine? What do you think, man? Because we've now seen these decks in action. Who do you think's going to win this thing?
It looks like Stautmeister has really adjusted to what Vengevine has been doing. I'm going to say Vengevine figures out what Stautmeister's adjustments are here and finishes off strong. So I'm reversing my initial guess, and I say it goes to Vengevine.
All right. I mean, I said Stautmeister was going to win at 3-2. I'm obviously a soothsayer. I'm going to stick with that. I mean, I saw this coming, and here we go. Yep. That's pretty good, though. Cull Patriarch is exactly what the doctor ordered right there. All right, so we're going to see a Wyvern into a Patriarch buffing him, and Stautmeister saying, yeah, you like these chickens? Because, man, he's a tough one. And the problem is, because Stautmeister runs 3 Flame Lance, I feel like you can't really try to trap the chicken here because he probably pops out. So I don't know what. I mean, you still might do that because it's the only play you have, but I don't think you go all in on that play. So here is his favorite play: killing Patriarch with Shimmer Fang. Okay, so I got a question for you, Hectares. How impressed have you been with Shimmer Fang? I have not been that impressed. I felt like it's okay, but I was hoping to come away from this game going, oh dang, this is amazing.
Yeah, I think I've only been really excited about it when it's come down with a big Patriarch to support it.
Do you roar here? Do you roar and say, I have a 7-11 Wyvern. Please, please, please don't draw Cersei and ruin my day? I think I probably just play 2 dudes here.
Oh, I see. Let's see here. Maybe.
I think he is going to roar. He's going for it. I mean, this is a big play. If Vengevine doesn't draw a Cersei, he's in huge trouble. And look at that. He did not. Oh, my.
Yeah, the Phoenix is interesting here. This is a card that has struggled to come down in earlier games.
For sure. So is he going to fill 2 with the Eidolon and then Lotus? I mean, the problem here is Nuada doesn't really do much unless he's willing to like overwrite that Serpent, which I don't think is going to be the right play. It looks like his hand is kind of forced here, and I don't love it, except for it does trade off the Phoenix in theory, right? Like we're assuming at that point that Stautmeister doesn't draw Flame Lance, which I don't know if you've seen this deck, Hectares. He always draws the Flame Lance or the Warlord when he needs it. So let's see. Plays into it, and he's got it if he wants it. Does he want it is the question. Probably
I wonder why he, or whether he considered just going for the 50-50 Lotus and having the 4 damage go onto the Wyvern and having the Eidolon come down in lane 3. That was an interesting choice he made to just go the specific lane placement of Lotus in 3.
Especially since the Lotus play doesn't gain him that much. I mean, it does though. It traps that Phoenix. I'm kind of surprised. I thought he might Flame Lance, but I think he just wants the pressure plays. It's interesting that he's adjusting this game and playing more Thunder Swords. Like he's amped up his Thunder Sword production. All right, and we get the Cersei in the nick of time, right before the end of the player level, taking him out. Interesting. He's considering overwriting. I'm not really sure overwriting there does that much. What do you think about that, Hectares?
I think you trade most likely if you play out the pay. What he's probably worried about is if he grows it a little bit and then Patriarch 2 comes down.
Yeah. I feel like the level 1 you can kind of just leave alone. Like that play, I feel like sets you back a little bit against an aggro deck. You lose a creature. Wow. Did Stautmeister just play the Ash? Oh, interesting, because he could trade for that. I really thought that Stautmeister had an opening there that he would press it and play another creature, roar, and have a really big board, let that Serpent hit him a little bit. It seems like he's going a little bit more endgame, thinking if he gets that Phoenix 3, he'll have that locked up. And it was definitely good value. I just thought he would go for the pressure.
So he's dealing with Agamemnon instead of Patriarch, instead of Thundersword, it looks like, using the Cersei.
Yeah. I mean, maybe his thought is post-combat he's going to be able to play the Patriarch in 1 and then pray for no buff, which is... that's a little dangerous. So I take it you would not have played it that way?
I probably would have played out the Cersei in 1 and blocked. I probably would have blocked as well with the Patriarch in 3.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been interesting. I mean, he was fortunate here that Stautmeister didn't draw the pump. If he'd drawn pump, this game would be pretty problematic. But it already is. And Stautmeister has a pretty aggressive looking board. Vengevine hand is not great. I mean, you can go like, I guess maybe Shimmer Fang into Buffet, then it kills the Patriarch. You can't really block the Agamemnon. He's just going to strut out of the way. Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Yeah, and having the Agamemnon 3 in the deck is a pretty big boost for Stautmeister because
That
of
guy
the
is nuts.
ability to remove and to deal to the face.
The fact that he's aggro, oh my goodness. It's one of the better level 3s in the game, I feel like. He's got 2 of the better level 3s in the game in his deck right now. So Stautmeister has actually shifted from, like, he was like, if I don't win by like 2.4, I'm in trouble. He's the late game deck right now. He has all the late game bombs. He's got Thundersaur 3, Agamemnon 3, and Phoenix 3, and he's winning, and he has better board presence. Are you kind of regretting waffling like that? Flip-flopping, if you will?
Yeah, absolutely.
Punish
for not believing.
Vengevine struck out. So bad time to strike out. I don't even know what Vengevine does here. If I was staring down this board position, I'd probably turn off my mic, say something terrible, turn it back on, and try to figure out what the heck I'm supposed to do.
I might go for Lotus in 1 here, pre-combat, and then Thundersaur in 1 post-combat.
Oh, that is such a bad play. Oh my god.
I don't know what he had. Like, I don't know what options he had.
Oh god. When you're reaching for that play, you are in big trouble. I'm not saying that's the wrong play. I'm just saying, wow, that actually might be the best play. Oh, dang.
Because you have nothing that deals with the Wyvern. I guess if you played Thundersaur in 5,
I mean, I think if I was going to
the-
make your play, I'd rather just go Lotus in 3 to guarantee he does some damage, rather than just going, like, if you go 1 and then it pops in 5, you're just really hurting.
Okay. So, what do you think of Thundersaur in 5? Because then the Cinder Smoke Wyvern can't get through for the extra 6 to the face. Or the free removal.
I think I play Thundersaur in front of Thundersaur. I don't think he has a lot of options there.
Okay.
I think if he doesn't do that, he dies to that Thundersaur. He doesn't have quite the same removal options that Stautmeister has. So I think it has to be Thundersaur 1, and then after that, I think you're just hoping Stautmeister has a really bad hand and you have a really good hand. You could Epidemic here, maybe. I mean, Lotus is fine. Lotus doesn't accomplish much, though, because even if you get the perfect Lotus pop, he eats the Lotus in 3, he moves the Wyvern over, eats the 1 in 5. It preserves the 6 damage, but I don't know. I mean, it's not great. There you go. He got perfection, so that's good, I guess.
Okay.
He got the dream play, which was awful. Oh.
Yeah.
Poor Vengevine. That's a really rough spot. I hate being in those spots. I just hate them so much. Alright. The nice thing is he can't move Agamemnon over into 2. Oh, man. He's able to buff the Thundersaur. That's really all he needs, right? Just a little buff on that Thundersaur. 18 more damage.
No, it'll buff on the Cinder Smoke Wyvern as well. Very nice.
Mm-hmm. He can only kill one guy with the Cersei. Who do you kill here, man? Do you kill the Wyvern or do you kill the Agamemnon? Or do you kill the Thundersaur? Oh my god. You're going to lose to all of these cards. Hectares, which one would you prefer to lose to the least?
I think you kill the chicken and you overwrite the Thundersaur with another Thundersaur.
I think you're right, but I think that play loses really badly.
You have to draw into another Cersei the follow-up turn.
Yeah, I think he's. I think you're right here, and this is a really good point. That when you get in a spot like this, it's not about the best necessarily for now. It's about outs and drawing to outs. And so I think you're right that you have to kill the Cinderfist or it beats you now. You have that opportunity to draw into an out to handle Thundersaur, especially since you're going into level 3. You know, maybe you'll hit a Cersei 3, something else, a Cull. You can, you know, kind of combo these cards together. Maybe your opponent whiffs. Maybe you have a chance. That Thundersaur 3 is interesting because he doesn't have a spot for it. So it's interesting because Stautmeister sort of went all in on Thundersaurs this game, thinking that was going to be great. And it'll be interesting if that ends up hurting him a lot, having that level 3 Thundersaur. Where do you put it? Do you not play it?
No, you play it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't see how you not play it.
You play it, and I think it wins you the game, even if it doesn't win you the game this turn.
Maybe. Unless your opponent has Culls in their hand. And Flame Lance the Cersei to do some more damage, get that off the board, so that you can drop chickens under leveled. I think that's what I would do. You could kill the Thundersaur, I suppose, but I think you don't mind the Thundersaur there, thinking it's going to grow yours. All right.
Well, even if he can deal with Thundersaurs, he can't necessarily deal with Agamemnon, and vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to double Cull. He's not going to double Cull because he needs to handle Agamemnon. Interesting.
Right.
Yeah, if he doesn't double Cull, I mean, if he double Culls, he takes 20 to the face. He's down to 7. That is really dangerous because it puts him in Flame Lance range, Wyvern range.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess you were right. That was the right play. And now he did get his Cersei, but Wyvern's pretty troubling.
Yeah, Wyvern represents 20 damage unless he can clog every lane.
I mean, I think he has to Epidemic here, and then does that even save him? No, that's 16, 23. It puts him down to 1. So as long as Stautmeister doesn't draw one of his Roars or Flame Lances, he's just fine.
Yep.
So,
if opponent plays no cards, I'm fine.
if he draws none of the cards in his deck, I'm all right. And shockingly, he did play cards in his deck. And there we go.
Big
Stautmeister with the... Was he down 2-0, in fact?
That's right.
My goodness. Let's bring on who we affectionately call the People's Champ. And we need to play his glorious music, of course. We got it.
The wind is howling.
All right.
Like
What
this
happened?
swirling storm
That's
inside. Couldn't keep it in. Heaven knows I.
Yep, Stautmeister couldn't keep it in. He had to let it shine. Stautmeister, congratulations on being the champion of the Forge.
Well, thank you.
All right, now I'm playing this deck this Saturday. It better win for me. Do you guarantee I win the tournament if I play your deck?
I cannot guarantee it, but now are you a bit convinced about what it can do?
Yeah, I mean, I always have been. I saw it. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say always. Wow, that's a gross misrepresentation. I was very, very skeptical of the deck at first. I played it, actually trash talked it while I was playing it, and won every game with it. And everyone on the stream was like, "What are you talking about? You're winning every game." And I'm like, I don't know. I'm still not convinced. And then I became convinced of what it can do. I'm still afraid of plants if it goes wrong, but yes, Stautmeister, it can do some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I like the shenanigans part. I think I did a few wind color shenanigans, not as much I would have hoped for, but Vengevine just put up so many pressure the entire time. It was just insane. And I gotta admit, he drew a couple of really bad hands. Like, if you draw bad hands when I'm ahead with this deck, you're generally not gonna win.
Yeah. There was that moment where you got stuff happening and he had a chance and he whiffed. But we had the reverse. Like there was one game I think where he had a really amazing level 3, and you had a really bad level 3. So it was interesting.
Yeah, I think that was the first game, and I think the second game the Thundersaurs just completely wrecked me, and I made a major misplay. I don't know if you noticed, but in my head, like he had a 13-something Thundersaur, and in my head I was planning, okay, I battle with the Patriarch, then I move the Cinder over, I Flame Lance the Thundersaur, and then I battle again to kill it. With Cinder Smoke and only battle once. So that was a bit, and then I instantly lost due to just a major mistake. And well, in the end, like these Cinder Smokes did a lot of work for me.
Yeah, Cinder Smoke. I really like watching you get value out of the Cinder Smoke. I was a little nervous a couple times, like in that last game you went all in on Cinder Smoke, and you roared him, and it was that moment. It was like, oh god, if he draws a Cersei, he just blows out Stautmeister's whole game plan. But if he doesn't, that Cinder Smoke's just gonna go bonkers and rule the world. And he didn't draw the Cersei, and Cinder Smoke just went crazy. It was an interesting sort of gambit you took there that really paid off.
Yeah, I had to take a chance because I knew if the Cersei's just wrecked my deck in game 1 and 2, I believe, just like every time I had a bit of pressure, I had the 5/9s on the board, he would just drop a level 1 Cersei and they would die. And like I would lose all the value that I put in those creatures. So I thought, well, if he draws it now, at least I'll be able to kill it and I did some damage. And if he doesn't, I'll be able to just do 7 more damage, kill another creature and get tons of value.
Yeah, that's a good point. I remember, I think it was game 2 when you had like an 11-17 Wyvern, and he just went level 1 Cersei, dead.
Yeah, if he hadn't killed that one, that would have been a lot closer. And of course, game 3, I think it was, I won, and I was at 7 health. And I won because of the Flame Lance and the Warlord blowout. Mm-hmm. Because he didn't kill the 10-14 Warlord in the end, because I then Patriarch 2 and Roar 2.
Yeah, I remember when that play came up, I was thinking he should block with the Oros, and Hector said, no, don't block there. You don't want damage on your Oros, because you have so many shenanigans, right? If you put damage on the Oros, then a Warlord jumps down, kills the Oros, you Flame Lance it. I mean, you've been showing that all day, so it made perfect sense if you want to keep that Oros alive. And then, so basically, that half of your deck set up the fact that you could Patriarch Warlord and do just gobs of damage with a guy who could have been dead.
Yeah, because because of your tip, I actually took out the Reveler, and then I just added another Flame Lance, because Flame Lance is another one of those cards that does 1.5 in card because it's removal and damage. Mm-hmm. So it adds to the entire deck where you just play 1.5 amount of cards with their damage, direct damage, and all the stuff that you can do with it.
Yeah, I feel like your deck is actually pretty well set up to handle Deathweaver, because you have that combination of Flame Lance plus Warlord plus Cinder Smoke. So you have like all these different ways to just handle it immediately before it can even get rolling. Is that something you've been consciously thinking of, or is it just how it's worked out with the rest of your plan?
No, you had to do it because you need the blowout potential in current meta, because the current meta is about filling the board faster than your opponent can and then buffing your creatures even more. Mm-hmm. So you either need the Sentinel Armor blowouts, or you need like the Warlord, Cinderfist. You need stuff that does direct things on activation, just like you could play Lotus as a removal spell, like Vengevine tried to do a couple of times.
Yep. All right, man. That was an impressive show. Hector, do you have anything for the People's Champ that you want to...
No. Just thanks for proving me wrong multiple times that run, both in game and by winning games that I didn't expect. So very nice.
Well, thanks. But Hector, I built the AN deck that's been doing well in tournaments. I made the Flamebreaker Nukes deck that made top 8. I basically made 2, and now I think this is the third tier 1 meta deck. So what did you expect?
So are you proclaiming that this is going to be a top 16 deck in the tournament?
Well, if someone else plays it, because I can't, because my girlfriend comes home from a vacation and I've got obligations.
You can play it on the phone on the side. You just kind of, you're like, no, it's important work text, honey. Don't look over here. Don't look over here. It works.
Yeah, so I'm hoping
Stautmeister.
someone else picks up this list and makes it Yeti-proof as well, because Yeti-proof, zombie-proof, because zombies just completely destroy this because they get more value out of Will than you can with all your guys.
Did you say Yeti proof? Are you also worried about Yetis a bit?
Yeah, that was a mistake. I just mean zombie-proof. Yetis is a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems. I was a little surprised. Yeah, zombies. I can see how every single dude in your deck dies to his race Will. It's kind of a tricky spot that you put yourself in.
Yep. Oh, now I see I'm getting flamed for my comment about the decks. Check it out for those guys. Check how many Eloy, Necrium, Tarsus Bots decks were played before I posted the list and played it myself in a tournament. Because I checked it and it was 0.
I'm pretty sure Stautmeister has created all of the tier 1 decks. He's being humble now.
Yeah. Then I also made the Shaper decks. No.
He made AU Knights for sure, right? You made AU Knights.
Yes, didn't I, Hectares?
I just want to see
even
Turkish
named
instead
it.
explode.
So now I get to pick out a legendary, right?
You do. Let me know what legendary you want. I will pass that along to Stoneblade, and it will be yours, sir.
Awesome.
Unless you
thanks
just
a
want
lot.
to tell me now. Do you want to tell everyone now?
It's gonna be the gnome because I spent all my remaining Soulforge funds on 3 Cinder Smokes, so it's only fair if the Cinder Smokes gets me my gnome.
Okay, fair enough. I will pass that along for you. A gnome
Awesome.
for Stautmeister for winning the Forge. So stay tuned next week to see if Stautmeister can win a second gnome or if he is dethroned by someone else. So we'll see you next week on the Forge, where
Well,
2
have a
enter,
nice eve.
1 leaves champion, and 1 leaves beaten, battered, and bruised.